Sawadee-krap. Hello and welcome to Daily Wisdom, Walking the Path with the Buddha. This video is the first video in an 8-part series where I'm going to be introducing you to the Eightfold Path using the words of the Buddha. This video starts with right view. Remember, it's important to learn, reflect, and practice so that you can see the truth for yourself. The Eightfold Path is the complete and perfect plan from the Buddha of how to attain enlightenment. This is the training that a practitioner would need to understand and practice in order to move the mind to this enlightened mental state, where the mind is peaceful, calm, serene, and content with joy. By learning what is right view and establishing right view in your daily practice, then you can have the breakthrough where you understand what is the problem in the unenlightened mind, the cause of the problem, the elimination of the problem, and the way forward to completely eliminate the entire problem. Having this breakthrough to establish right view means that you will understand why you experience anger, sadness, frustration, irritation, annoyance, guilt, shame, fear, boredom, loneliness, shyness, resentment, jealousy, and all other discontent feelings in the mind. So in order to get to enlightenment, the very first step is to establish right view. So it's the very first step on this Eightfold Path. And this is why it was the Buddha's very first teaching. And oftentimes when he would meet with brand new students, this would be the very first teaching that he would share. He would help you to establish right view. Because with wrong view, then you're not understanding what's actually causing the problem of the discontentedness in the mind, so therefore you wouldn't be able to solve it. So we're going to be discussing right view as part of today's video. The Eightfold Path is comprised of 8 individual steps that a practitioner would need to learn, reflect on to be able to independently verify the truth, and then practice in your daily life in order to bring your life practice up closer and closer to the enlightened mind. The Eightfold Path is comprised of right view, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. This next 8 videos are going to go through each individual step using the words of the Buddha to help you understand exactly what he taught related to this important teaching. The Eightfold Path is the core and central teaching of the Buddha, with all the other teachings plugging into the Eightfold Path. This is your life practice. In terms of developing your life practice and getting to enlightenment, the Eightfold Path is your life practice. And right view is the very beginning of that, so that you can have this breakthrough to understanding what is the problem in the unenlightened mind, the cause, the elimination, and the complete path for how to eliminate discontentedness in the mind. So let's use the words of the Buddha to understand the Eightfold Path. The Eightfold Path starts out in the words of the Buddha, providing you an overview of the Eightfold Path. Here's what he says. "And what, monks, is the noble truth of the way of practice leading to the elimination of discontentedness? It is just this noble Eightfold Path, namely, right view, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration." Here the Buddha is just setting up the teaching and helping you to understand what he is about to teach. And then he goes through the Eightfold Path in detail, each individual step, which is what we're going to do in this series of 8 videos. So the very first step of the Eightfold Path is right view. So let's look at the words of the Buddha related to right view, because it's the words of the Buddha that is going to help you understand what he did teach and what he didn't teach. If you're learning with any other resource besides the words of the Buddha, you aren't necessarily practicing and understanding what it is that the Buddha actually taught. It's a Buddha that is the one who is the discoverer, the declarer, and the originator of the path to enlightenment. So studying with the words of the Buddha is so important. So let's look at his words related to right view. And what, monks, is right view? It is, monks, the wisdom of discontentedness, the wisdom of the cause of discontentedness, the wisdom of the elimination of discontentedness, and the wisdom of the way of practice leading to the elimination of discontentedness. This is called right view. Here, what the Buddha is doing is he's pointing to the Four Noble Truths. These are the 4 videos previous to this one. It was videos 6, 7, 8, and 9 where I explained individually the Four Noble Truths. In that series of videos, you learned what is discontentedness, what is the cause of discontentedness, what is the elimination of discontentedness, and what is the way of practice leading to the complete elimination of discontentedness. So because the Eightfold Path is this core central teaching, here, instead of explaining the Four Noble Truths in their entirety, he's just pointing back to the Four Noble Truths in order to help you understand that is right view. By understanding the Four Noble Truths, you have this breakthrough to understand that it's craving, desire, attachment, this mental longing for something with a strong eagerness that is causing your discontentedness. Your own mind is causing the anger, the sadness, the frustration, and other discontent feelings. Oftentimes in the unenlightened state, when we're lacking wisdom, we blame other people for our discontent feelings. And this would be wrong view. And this is why you haven't been able to solve the anger, frustration, sadness, and other discontent feelings, because as long as we blame other people for our discontent mind, we're not focusing on the real problem, which is in your own mind. This is why the Buddha's path and all of his teachings help you to focus on the real problem of training your own mind. And by training your own mind, this is where you can get to liberation of mind, or freedom from strong feelings, peace, calm, serenity, and contentedness with joy. You can eliminate the pollutions of mind that are causing the mind to be shaken up. But as long as you're blaming other people with wrong view, that other people are causing you to be angry, frustrated, irritated, annoyed, and other discontent feelings, as long as you're blaming them, you're not focused on the real problem. And what we tend to do in the unenlightened state is push people away, thinking that that's going to solve the problem. But that doesn't solve the problem. Instead, this allows the problem to continue. Because when you push this person or this situation out of your life, you haven't solved the actual problem. So then you get angry again, you get frustrated again, you get annoyed again, and then you try to push that away. And when this anger arises, you have unskillful conduct through your intentions, your speech, and your actions. You might be aggressive or harsh or bitter. You might be resentful. And this is causing difficulties in your personal and professional relationships. So when you have right view and you've established this deeply in the mind, essentially what you've done is you've accepted responsibility for your own discontent feelings. Any feelings or emotions that you have, this is being caused by your own mind. It's being caused by the craving, desire, attachment, where the mind is longing and yearning for things to be a certain way. The mind is craving for permanence. You want things to be your way. And when they're not that way, that's where the anger comes out. And now there's unskillful conduct as part of that. But remember, it's important to learn, reflect, and practice. Don't just believe what I'm sharing with you here as part of right view. Instead, if you haven't already seen the mini lessons 6, 7, 8, and 9, be sure to go back to those and investigate those closely so that you can learn, reflect, and practice and deeply see the truth for yourself that you are indeed causing all your own discontent feelings. This will help you to establish right view. In our next mini lesson, we will be describing right intention. This is the second part of the Eightfold Path. The Eightfold Path, as I mentioned, is right view, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. This is going to help you to understand the wisdom of the Eightfold Path, the moral conduct, and the mental discipline. because the Eightfold Path can be categorized into these three sections: wisdom, moral conduct, and mental discipline. And by you learning and practicing this, this is what will move your mind to the enlightened mental state, where you will no longer experience any discontent feelings. All anger, frustration, sadness, and other discontent feelings are completely eliminated from the mind. So thank you for watching this video. We'll see you in a future video. Have a very wonderful and lovely rest of your day. Sawadee ka.